Well, new tonight, more fallout from the Knox County Sheriff's Department corruption charges. Mike Davis is now contesting the results of the Republican sheriff's primary. Davis only won 14% of the vote. His opponents, J.J. Jones and David Amburn, won a combined 42% of the vote. They have since been charged with theft and conspiracy. Davis says if voters had known about the investigation into the two men, it's possible he would have won the election. Republican Brent Gibson won the primary with 44% of the vote and is running unopposed in the general election. Davis's attorney says the election results will be contested. The grand jury indictment came down May 13th. The primary was May 5th.